So if you are wanting to be more frugal or become a frugal person, this video might just be for you. We're going to be going over the beginner's guide to frugal living, and we're going to have some great information here for you today. Now, if by any chance this is actually your first video with us, my name is Dennis, and here on the channel, we love to talk about ways to make money, invest money, and save money, just like in this video here today. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and tap on that bell notification to get started. All right, now before we actually get into this list, I actually want you to make sure you stick around because I also want to share with you my best personal frugal tips that I have to be able to share with you guys. So not only are we going to go over the guide of frugal living, I'm also going to share with you guys my tips. So we first want to talk about frugal living in general, and it's not about being cheap or stingy. It's about being intentional and resourceful with the money that you actually have. It's also about understanding where to focus your money and live a life that is stress-free from actual money issues. So it's not really just about how you can save a dollar, it's about how you can be most effective with that dollar. So here's the actual definition for frugal. It is sparing or economical with regards to money or food. And that's pretty much what it's all about. Now, I don't want this to get mixed up with extreme cheapskates. That's a whole different type of lifestyle. They actually have a whole TV show from TLC that you can actually watch about people who are extremely cheap with how they spend their money. And that's not what being frugal is all about. It, again, like we just talked about, it's all about how you are able to intentionally manage your money. Now, if you're somebody who is just getting started in the path of becoming frugal or, wanting to kind of up their game in frugality, here's going to be the first step that you want to kind of take is you want to pace yourself. You don't want to kind of just go at it all 100% because that can lead you to failure when it comes to going into this type of lifestyle. Because there are so many different styles that you can live in, and it's not a one size fits all when it comes to frugal living. You could be frugal in so many different areas that it doesn't have to be in every single spot in your life. And we're going to get into a little bit more of that here in just a little bit. So the big thing you need to consider as well is when you are going through the process that other people might be going through this a little bit quicker or have a faster pattern of being able to become frugal, but don't use that as a deterrent because if you're going to do that, you can actually fail in the process of becoming frugal since you're putting it at a different pedestal than what you might be able to achieve. So work within your lifestyle and what makes you feel comfortable to be able to get to this position. So number 2 is to actually know your goals. Now, of course, it's important that you want to try to save as much as you can while being frugal, but it's not really about just saving every penny. It's about knowing where those pennies go and how that money is going to affect you long term. Knowing that you have big goals, maybe even small goals, those things are going to take you much further when it comes to being frugal. Because if you can save $1 here, you know that dollar is going to go a lot further along in this other area of your life because you have those goals set in place. Make sure, of course, they are happy goals so that way they can be achievable and exciting for you to try and reach. So number 3 on this list is getting onto the same page with your spouse or your significant other, or even with your family as well. When everybody has a good understanding of how you are wanting to live your life, this will help out immensely. And if you have a spouse or a significant other, it's not necessarily that you guys had to do the exact same level of frugality, as long as they just understand what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve. Because maybe they don't want to sacrifice as much as you do, and that's okay as long as things are compromised in all areas. And I also mentioned too that you want to be on the same page with family overall because this is also really important. Again, not that they have to be on the exact same page with you on every single thing that you do, but just the understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. So that way, maybe if they're wanting to do trips or go to certain places that maybe you couldn't afford or that you would have to save up for earlier, they can hopefully compromise and give you heads up or even understand that maybe you wouldn't be able to go. And don't forget, as I mentioned earlier, I want you to stick around because I'm going to share with you my best frugal tips to help kind of get you started on the right foot, and that's going to be coming up in just a little bit. So number 4, and this one is probably my favorite, it is finding like-minded people or communities. This is going to go a very long way for you because all of a sudden you're actually surrounded by people who have the same thought processes as you or has the same hopes and goals and dreams that you might have, and actually will help encourage you at times when maybe you're not feeling good, and or you can help encourage others when maybe they're not doing so well. So if you can find these people who have the same thought process as you. Now, of course, there's YouTube here that has a lot of people who are frugal, which is awesome because you can follow along on their journeys, talk to people in the comment section. And there's also Facebook groups that do a really good job of bringing people together who have the same thought processes or same type of lifestyles. And if you're not surrounded by like-minded individuals, it can be very difficult to want to keep up with your frugality because maybe these people spend completely differently than what you're trying to hope to achieve. Now, before we continue on, if you are getting some value out of this video, I ask that you hit that like button down below. It really does help out these videos and helps out the channel overall, so I do appreciate that. And while you're down there, comment below how long you have actually been frugal. And if you are literally just getting started on Frugality, I want you to type in that hand waving emoji so that way we can say hi to you and join you in the community of Frugality. So number 5 is giving things up selectively. We talked about earlier, when it comes to actually going through the process of getting started with being frugal, you don't want to go all in all at once, because that can actually harm you and be more difficult for you to want to stay in this lifestyle. Now, also too, another thing to consider is that when you are selective, doesn't mean you have to give up that thing forever. One great example was when my wife and I came back from our travels, we decided that we had to put traveling aside for a short period of time while we were trying to hit other goals. So we were being very frugal in how we were spending money through travel because we wanted to hit other financial goals in our lives. So that's something that we put aside for a while and then have it coming back down the road, so that way it can benefit us in a way that we can actually go traveling even more, because that's something we like to do. And for those coffee fans, don't worry, this is kind of geared towards that area where if you are a fan of coffee and you don't want to give up coffee, that is perfectly fine. You can still have your coffee, but you could do one of two things. One, you can switch over to a different format of having coffee so it saves you money, or two, you just go less often to have your coffee, which can help, reduce the cost, but still not completely give it up. So sometimes it's giving things up entirely. Sometimes it's just sacrificing a little bit or switching your style up of how you spend your money in that given area to help you long term to reach all your other financial goals as well. So number 6 is knowing your numbers. This is very important when it comes to being frugal. Not necessarily that you have to know line by line, but you should have a really good idea of how much you're spending in certain areas, what's coming in, and essentially what's going out in total, because when you know your numbers, you're going to have a lot more control over your finances, which, being a frugal person, will also cause you to actually notice where your money's kind of leaking out if you're having money that's just kind of spewing out of your budget. Because if you have subscriptions or you have something that's getting charged randomly, usually a frugal person will know that right away because they know their numbers, and those things stick out like a sore thumb when it's not part of their actual budgets and what they're spending. And if you're not a big budget person, like I mentioned, that's totally fine. If you actually want to, I will link in the show notes down below that you can check out my simplest budget ever, where you don't have to worry about Excel sheets or envelope systems. It's a very simple system that you can help you get started with managing your money just a little bit better. You can check it out after this video is done. Again, I will have that in the show notes down below for you. So number 7 is know that no one person is perfect. Not any single frugal person is going to be perfect in the lifestyle, because like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be different for every single person. Your level of frugality is going to probably be different than mine and different than the next person as well. So knowing that not everybody is perfect and there's not one simple system to follow through can actually be beneficial, because now you're not stressed with the idea that you have to follow along exactly through a certain step so that way you can achieve frugality. It's all about how you are able to manage for yourself. And if you're just getting started, it's okay to make mistakes and, go fall back on what you were trying to achieve. As long as you get back up and try to go through the process again, you are definitely not going to be failing, and you don't have to worry about being perfect. So number 8 is going to be give yourself rewards. Now, going through the process of becoming frugal, you're going to learn that having rewards is going to be vital. We talked earlier about setting goals, and those goals can also be rewards for yourself. So if you have a goal of saving up for another car and you're sacrificing maybe a couple extra cups of coffee or any other things to help you save money, that money can get moved over into this car fund, and that is pretty rewarding to see that money going up even faster because of your frugality on one side to help you achieve something better on the other. And another form of rewards is saying, hey, I'm giving myself this cutback over here so I can have more of something that I do really appreciate. So rewarding yourself can come in a lot of different formats, just depending on how it works best for you. Because again, just like being frugal, rewarding yourself can be different for every single person. For me, as an example, I like the reward of knowing that I have a lot of money saved aside for big goals, where some people might like the rewards of an extra cup of coffee, or maybe getting to have this extra money for spending for whatever they want because they saved money in different areas that they could. So are you up for the challenge of frugality? Are you somebody who is wanting to start learning how to sacrifice in some areas so that way you can have more in the areas that give you the most value in your life? Are you ready to be more financially independent and stress-free from living a life of money worries? And if you answered yes, then I want you to actually click on this next video right over here, where I want to share with you my best personal frugal tips to help you maybe get started on the right foot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.